Hi guys, welcome to TJ's Aquatics. Today's video is going to be another unboxing. So this time I bought some fish from Tropco. I'll leave a link in the description, you can check them out. And yeah, let's open these packages and see what we've got inside. Deep pack's nice and warm still. So this is tropco, that's their website address there, telephone number, check them out. This video isn't sponsored by them at all. These are fish that I've purchased. Really well packaged. Let's get that out of the way. So I managed to free up some space in a few in my tank, so I decided to get some new fish. So I decided to get a few more of these guys. So this is the dwarf Corydoras. I don't think you can see them. It's the Corydoras pygmaeus, I think, is that one. A group of golden rams. So these all look a bit pale because of the travelling. Obviously they're stressed because they're stuck in a tiny bag. Some German blue rams to go with the other rams that I've got. And the last bag for this one is 2 blue pinax L239s to add to my breeding colony. Right, so let's get this box out of the way and open the second box. Right, let's see what's in the second box. I'm not sure if I'm going to say this right, but these are the Celebes rainbow fish. Like I say, I'm not sure if I'm actually saying that right. Celebes rainbow fish. So we've got some ember tetras in this one to add to the other ember tetras that I've already got. Won't focus. So hopefully I'll be able to breed some of them. This next bag is Banjo Cowfish. So I've got 2 Banjo Cowfish in this bag. There you go. So there's 2 of them. So this one is the dwarf rainbow fish, or praecox rainbow fish. So we've got a few of them. Hopefully be able to breed them ones. And in the last bag we have some Congo tetra. So these are only little babies Congo tetras in this. So I'll have to grow them out before I put them in the big tank. They're tiny. So that's it, that concludes the video, I guess. I didn't do a video last week. I wasn't very well, so I did say that I was going to do 2 videos, so this is the first of the 2. The second video is we're just going to talk about the attempt at hatching the killifish eggs. And I say attempt because it wasn't very successful, but we'll go over that. We've got a video of the progress that I made, if you can call it progress. But in the next video we'll talk a little bit more about that. So I'm going to pause the video. I want to put these into the quarantine tank, and then I'll get back to you and show you how they're getting on. Right guys, so I've put the 2 Banjo Cowfish in one little tank there, and then put the ember tetras into another quarantine tank. So there's just 2 tanks here. And I've covered this one up because obviously the Banjo cats prefer the dark, so I've put some put a piece of driftwood in the bottom for them to hide under. As I say, I put a towel over the top. The next tank's the dwarf corries. So just put them inside this tank. It's got there's a lily, water lily there, and some floating plants. I'm not quite sure, I can't remember what that is. It's water lettuce, I think. So it's just a little 12 by 12 inch cube. Then I put the golden rams in their own separate tank, because this is going to be a breeding tank, hopefully. So they're all there on their own in that tank. So there's 6 of those in there at the moment, and I think it's 165 litres the tank that they're in. So that's the gold rams in that one. Sorry about the glare. And then in the bottom tank I've put the rainbows in this one. You can't really see them all because I've left the lights off. Obviously they've been acclimated and I don't want to stress them too much, so I've left the lights off on this tank, but the rest of the fish are in this one. Quarantine, so you can see there's a couple of rainbows there. You just see the I don't think you'll see the plecos. The plecos will be in there somewhere, hiding in probably the tube. So there's a, sorry, you can't really see the glare on this. That's better. It's just a piece of PVC piping. It's a soil pipe, and I've just drilled some holes in it, and that's for the plecos and the catfish. So eventually, once everything's being quarantined, I'll separate them again. I'll put them in the tanks that what I want them to go into with the other fish, and then what I'll do is this tank will end up being the Banjo Cowfish, and I've got a couple of talking catfish to go in here, and also some cardinal tetras will also go in this tank, and it's going to be sort of like a biotope tank, this one. So it'd be the river Orinoco, if that's how you pronounce it, over in Brazil, Argentina, somewhere around that way. And so it'll be the talking cats, the banjo cats, and cardinal tetras mostly in this one, and I'll probably look into getting a few more, maybe some more catfish or something like that maybe. But again, this is a 166 litre tank, this one. So I've actually, this is a pretty new setup, this one. So I've drilled the back of the tank. I've not actually glued that, that's why the water line's not above it. But I've got to glue that in place. I've just dry fitted it for now. But I've been working on this while I've not been well, so I didn't get a great deal of it done, and because I needed to upload this video, I decided to just dry fit that for now, and then just get some water in it for the delivery that I just received. Like I say, they're only in there for quarantine purposes at the moment, so once I've taken the fish out and put them into the other tanks, this tank will be empty for a short period, where then I'll glue all this in place. I'll just do more regular water changes, because I say the tank's only half full, so I'll do more regular water changes on it while the fish are in there. And then like I say, once I've got the fish out, I'll drain the tank, and then I'll put the fittings in with a solvent weld. But this is the new rack that I've set up. There's a solvent weld, as you can see, and the extension cables and stuff like that, that's only temporary. Like I say, I only set that up because I wanted to quarantine the fish in this rack, because I've only got 2 spare tanks on the other rack, and I've got the fry. So this is the rainbow fish fry. They're doing well at the moment, and there is a couple of the babies that are saved from the Apistogramma trifasciata. There's a couple of those in there as well, swimming around the bottom, but they're really difficult to spot because they blend in with the mulm on the bottom, and I never hoover that bottom because obviously I don't know where the fry are. They're very, very small fry at the moment, so hopefully in a few weeks time I'll be able to sort that out. I'm going to actually I bought some bulkheads for these 20mm bulkheads, for the smaller tanks, so that it'll be easier to just drain them out. Same again on this one. This one's 28 litre, I think, and again it's just going to be a 20mm bulkhead on that one again. I'm going to put a third a third, possibly a fourth tank in here. So I might go with another, I think they're 12 litres or 15 litres. I might put another one of them next to it, and then another 28 litre next to that one there. And then I'll have the 4 on the top there, then the 2 big tanks, the 165 litre tanks. These are actually custom made, and they fit perfectly inside of this rack. So the rack's just a garage racking, and I've obviously just utilised it for the tanks. I actually put plywood. You actually get MDF sheets to put in here, but I decided obviously that plywood's a bit stronger, so I put the plywood in there instead. It's the same on the bottom for that one. And yeah, hopefully once I've quarantined the fish, and I'll set the bottom tank up properly, and then finish the rack off at the top there with the four tanks. Like I say, this one I'm just waiting for these to grow a little bit more. Once these get a little bit bigger, they'll then go into this tank. But by that time, this tank will already be drilled. It'll already have the bulkhead in it, and hopefully be plumbed into a drainage system. I'm going to run a drainage system down the wall in this corner. So I'll probably actually zip tie it or something to this leg on the back there, and then I'll run that down the side to the bottom, and then I'll run it round this corner. Hopefully I'll be able to move this tank, because this is the big tank, and that's 550 litres or somewhere around that area. Hopefully I'll be able to drain that off a bit and pull that out, so I can get a pipe work down the back. So it'll run down the back of there, and then it'll come out in this corner. It'll go round this corner, it'll come out here at the bottom, run along the skirting board again to behind this tank. So that's the 200 litre, and then hopefully I'll be able to run it behind there to the back corner of this rack here, because there's 2 racks. There's this rack, and then there's one on the other side of this rack, which is the breeding rack, and there's enough space down the back of these. And yeah, it's a bit of a mess here behind the wires and air lines. So the air line comes from the central air system, and I've just run, there's an air pump in the top corner there which feeds this pipe work, and you just tap into it with little airline taps, and then you just run your tubing down from there into the tanks. Like I say, they all run straight down from there. So you've got this one here that goes to the top one, and then all the rest of them are drop down in between the 2 tank racks, and then go into each of the tanks. So all the way down there's a couple of different airlines. Most of these wires are actually fed into these things. So these are like a central power point. So they've got 2 switches on them, and then you've got your 2 permanent feeds inside. So your 2 permanent feeds would maybe be your thermostat and whatever else that you want to put in there. Most people probably use the second permanent feed for an air pump or something, but obviously, like I've got the central air system there, so I don't really need that part. But there's a couple of different things wired into these. I say you've got the switches on them. You've got 2 switches. So I've got one switch has got an internal filter, because some of these tanks do have internal filters as well. And the second switch is just a blank. There's nothing in them, but I've got a couple of those. So you've got on the very end, that's a pH reader on the very end there, which needs calibrating by the looks of things. I haven't really used that much lately because I've turned all my CO2 off, I usually run that into a tank where I'm using CO2, but I've turned the CO2 off temporarily, and as I say, that does look like it needs calibrating. It shouldn't be reading 8.8 pH. So then you've got obviously these three power sensor units, and then there's a fourth one here, which run this rack. So you've got the top one, 2, 3, and then the bottom one there, 4. That bottom one's a quarantine tank at the moment. They're from I bought a purchase from another pet shop, which I've had to quarantine in that tank for now. As you can see, there's all sorts of hooks with nets on. I've got a TDS meter. That's for testing the TDS in the breeding tanks. I've got some more nets on the back here. There's nets hanging everywhere at the moment. I always use the same net for the same tanks, so each one of these nets is for its own tank. And I've got the algae scraper. So this algae scraper and net is for the top tank. This net will go in for the second tank, and then so on and so forth. So yeah, the breeding rack. So at the moment I've got the dwarf corridorus in this one for quarantine at the moment, but that will become its own tank. So that they'll stay in that tank most likely, and then that will become like a breeding tank for those eventually, once they grow to an adult size. And then in this tank is still the Apistogramma Agassiz double reds, which I unboxed a couple of weeks ago from Kesgrave Tropicals, and they're going to stay in there for a bit, and hopefully I'll be able to breed those ones. I've already bred the Apistogramma trifasciata, and then this tank's the L239s blue pinax, so you can see there's one there, and that's the breeding colony. I've not actually bred these yet, but you know, that's the idea for this tank. It's 110 litres. This is on the top of the rack. And then the bottom of the rack at the moment is just a canister filter and a load of junk. But eventually I'm going to do away with the canister filter, and I'm going to utilise this shelf as an extra tank for quarantine and whatever else. That, you know, possibly I might even use it as a breeding tank with it being on the breeding rack. But yeah, so far it's going well.